Welcome back, everyone, to the show Requirement, a Harry Potter podcast streaming everywhere you get podcasts and also on YouTube. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all the new people that we have on our YouTube. I mean, last episode exploded with views. And so if you're watching us again this week, welcome back. Make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And when I mean comment like what kind of episodes do you want to see? I mean, we cover books, but we also do so much more than that, and we're willing to talk about anything and everything. So thank you for those of you who are joining us on YouTube. I'm your host, David Gonzalez, this week, and I'm joined by my good friend Cole Harris. Cole, how are you?
Hello, can't complain. I can't complain.
I have to ask the question, is there a reason why you're wearing a pirate hat right now?
I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean for our other show on the Gazebo Effect Network. Fandom Done Right. We're about to cover Dead Men Tell No Tales here in a few weeks. And I said, why don't I just dig out my Jack Sparrow hat?
You know, it's not much of a knock, because I feel like fans do this all the time with their own fandoms. You know, people go and watch Star Wars movies in costumes. Like Alicia and I we went to Star Wars in concert in OKC.
Ooh, that does sound like fun.
And it was the Empire Strikes Back film. So like the live orchestra was there. It was an amazing experience, but like people showed up in like their Jedi costumes, their stormtrooper outfits, like everything. So yeah, it's absolutely not crazy. But Cole, today we are covering Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows,
chapters 11 through 15.
Yeah. And again, it was not, we normally cover these chapters in 6s, not in 5s. And I am 100% loving my decision. This was my decision for us to go in 5s, because boy, what a cliffhanger this section of the reading ends on. We're not going to talk about it immediately, but Cole, talk to me about, what did you think of this section of the reading?
I mean, so we've got the bribe. That's the first chapter. It's been a minute since I read this last. I did my reading a while ahead of time. But I mean, we've got the magic is might, all that fun stuff in the Ministry of Magic, which is a great.
Yeah,
I love that part in the movie. That's one of my favorite parts of this movie. And the what they do with it in the book is pretty great.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, this has a lot of amazing essential things in it, because we'll talk about it more in depth, but even just the way that the Ministry of Magic, for some people, it just reaffirms what they already believed about Muggle-born wizards. And so just to getting to see that take place is tragic and sad, but ultimately you love what it does, I think, in the overall scheme of Harry Potter, because Harry gets to be a liberator in this moment, which is really, really cool. But then I think we also see Ron just, my gosh, this is another moment for Ronald Weasley that is absolutely not great. But joining us now is our third member of the trio for today, Abby Tooley.
Woo!
Welcome, Abby.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No, it's all right. We were just talking about our thoughts just on this section of the reading. So I know you're just coming in from the store, but what are your thoughts on this section of the reading?
Honestly, this section of the reading was kind of hard for me to get through, just because everyone's emotions are so high.
Yeah.
Everyone's just mad at each other. And honestly, the scene where they go into why did I forget the name? The Ministry of Magic. Disguised under Polyjuice Potion and get the locket from Umbridge is entertaining on screen for me.
That's what
but
Cole
not
was
as much just reading
about.
it.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, I don't know. This section of the book is not as exciting and fun for me. I still like it. It isn't as much fun of a read as other bits are. But I forgot all about the last chapter of this book. I think it was the last one. After they apparate into the forest. Because there were some characters that popped up that I did not remember popping up when they were in the forest.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that later.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's just dive into chapter 11, which is the bribe. We see a couple of things play out. Obviously, in the last chapter, we kind of see a shift in the relationship of Creature and Harry and the rest of the trio, which I think is absolutely brilliant. But we won't get to that until probably the next chapter, really. But what we do have in this section is Creature is going out to find Mundungus Fletcher, and Harry hopes that he finds him fast, but it's actually taking him longer than he thought. And we also see that Death Eaters are posted outside of the house watching them to see if anyone comes in or does it. But then we do have Lupin make an appearance in Grimwald Place. He talks about, wanting to come with them on their quest, saying that he could be a great asset, a great help. Harry doesn't buy it, and he says, "You're running from something." And it's revealed that Tonks is pregnant. She's going to have a kid. Lupin is ashamed. He's afraid. He's worried. And so he thinks the best thing for him to do is to leave them, because he just feels so ashamed that what he did was the wrong thing. And then we have Harry just, I don't know. To me, it's a little, it's over the top, in my opinion, of his response to Lupin, and calls him a coward, says that if I were your son, I would be ashamed of you abandoning me. And Lupin obviously gets frustrated and he leaves. But what do you guys think about that interaction between the two?
That one always. Oh, go ahead, Abby. That one always kind of hurt to read, because Lupin's one of my favorite characters, and I really did feel like he was being a coward. I really sided with Harry on this one, and it was just kind of disappointing to me both times that I've read it now. Like, man, sometimes the people we like just fall short.
Yeah,
they're the characters we like.
I do agree that Harry seemed a bit harsh, but I do think that Lupin needed someone to challenge him.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, Harry did that in a very harsh way, but it did push Lupin to do the thing that he needed to do.
Right.
In the end, I just wish that it hadn't come to that point to where Harry had to call Lupin a coward for him to make that happen. But I see both sides in that one. But yeah, I don't think Lupin was in the right, even though I do, again, one of my favorite characters of all time in Harry Potter. But I think that this, again, it does show a character flaw. This is not an area that he's doing right.
Yeah.
Is this coming off of the chapter to where Harry reads Lily's letter
I believe so.
that she wrote to Sirius.
If not right off, it was pretty close.
Because
Yes.
I think like
it's in chapter 10.
yeah, because I think what really I think motivates and like drives Harry in this scene is just he is reading about how like his dad's relationships, like his friendships, what were they like? And so there's a section of it where, oh man, I'm trying to find that section of what he said. Oh,
I think it's 180.
we might have different page numbers actually.
Maybe.
Because I'm at the 214 and stuff.
Yeah, I do have a slightly smaller.
Oh, so this is what he says. Because Harry says, oh, I don't know, Hermione. I'd be pretty ashamed of him.
Mm-hmm.
If the new regime thinks Muggleborns are bad, what would they do to a half werewolf whose father's in the order? My father died trying to protect my mother and me, and you reckon he'd tell you to abandon your kid to go on an adventure with us? Like, there were some clear motivations of just coming off of that huge emotional roller coaster of a letter from his mother to Sirius, that I think that is also driving him and his anger, because then he later on goes and asks, he says, would James have backed Harry in what he had said to Lupin, or would he have been angry at how his son had treated his old friend? Like that's the fight within Harry of just like, maybe I was too harsh on him, but I don't think that James would have co-signed what Lupin was doing and be like, oh yeah, leave your wife. So I think that was the motivation here, I think. But then we continue the storyline with Albus Dumbledore of learning more about his past, because then we get another extract from Rita Skeeter's biography of Dumbledore. We get Bathilda Bagshot. It's quoted in here talking about Dumbledore's mom shunning contacts with other wizards when she relocated to Godric's Hollow, keeping Dumbledore's sister Ariana out of sight. No one ever saw if she had any magical ability, so she thought, okay, maybe she was a squib. And so we see that story continue a little bit. But then we do get Mundungus Fletcher coming back, admits that he sold the locket to a woman that is revealed to be our favorite character, Spencer's favorite character in the world, Dolores Umbridge, who looks like a toad.
Shame.
I will say, in the movie, I felt like they did really well bringing Dobby in with Creature. I thought that was really funny.
Oh yeah,
I did forget that that he didn't show up with him in the book.
Yeah. I was waiting for Dobby to be in the scene too, and when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, okay. But what I do prefer is that we weren't here in the last episode, but what I loved in the book that I wish would have been in the movie would have been the development of Creature in this book. Like this like this chapter and the next chapter is phenomenal. Like I love it.
So
like
good.
The attitude changes, the relationship changes, it's good to see, because I think in the last chapter Hermione does such a good job of like communicating, hey, like, you want to know why Creature wasn't obedient to Sirius? Is because Sirius was a jerk.
I mean,
if he wasn't such a jerk, that wouldn't have the relationship the way it was wouldn't have happened. And so Harry recognizes that, and he's just like, well, now I'm going to make things different. And so seeing a different creature is nice. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else from chapter 11?
I noticed that when I was agreeing with you, I was doing something like this. Kids nowadays in public school do this when they agree with people.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I picked that up from some kids.
That's what student ministry does to you.
Mm-hmm.
You just pick up on the new lingo.
Anyways, no, that one was an interesting chapter. I did like that one.
Yeah. All right. So next one is Magic is Might, which gives us just a little bit of an example of what to expect in this upcoming chapter. So what we see here is still people walking around, but like I said before, creature has transformed himself into an extremely productive and helpful house elf, cleaning, cooking, keeping himself washed. Like this is a different beast. We learned that Snape is the headmaster of Hogwarts, and that 2 new professors have joined the staff, being the Caro siblings. Both of them are Death Eaters.
Terrible.
Yeah, not great. Hermione remembers that the portraits of Phineas, Nigellus Black, all of us who are very familiar with them in Hogwarts Legacy, they know that his picture hangs in the house, and so Hermione takes the picture down, puts it in her bag, so that way it won't be able to spy on them or report their secrets to Snape. Harry, Ron, Hermione begin stalking Ministry of Magic employees to kind of study the patterns of movement in and out of the ministry so that they can infiltrate and look for the locket in Umbridge's office. But Harry, as Harry Potter does, says, you know what? I feel like doing it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. We've been camping out all this time. It's time for us to actually do something. And so they make the plans. They do all of that. But then we also get to see that Harry continues to have Voldemort visions happening. And we get to finally see who Voldemort is hunting next. And it's Grigorovich, the wand maker.
Dun, dun, dun.
And again, what I appreciate about the books is, or what I think the film does very well, knowing that this story is a very long story. Obviously, they broke it up into part 1, part 2, but they knew that some details couldn't be included. So, like the conversation of Harry having with Hermione of G, like, listen, Dumbledore says that I should shut these out, as Hermione reminds him. But guess what? I like to know I want to know what he's up to. I want to know what he's doing. Like I could close these out, but I'm learning stuff and I don't want to necessarily shut them out. I don't enjoy this, but this is helpful for me. And so we get to see that play out just a little bit. And so basically what we do see is them entering into the Ministry of Magic. All of that has of them transforming into these employees. Yaxley shows up on the scene. And yeah, I feel like I've wrapped up chapter 12 pretty faithfully. I will say, Abby, so far of your thoughts on this chapter, it's hard to disagree, especially chapter 12. Chapter 12 was one I was like, oh, maybe this one wasn't as good. So I'm with you.
It's kind of that, like, I get why we have it, but
yeah,
not the most entertaining.
Yeah. But anything from this chapter at all?
I mean, you did sum it up pretty solidly.
David's a really good summarizer.
I do my best. I try hard. But yeah, I
honestly
really
just don't feel like there's a ton of like important content. There I go. There's not a ton of important content to point out.
Yeah.
And so I think just summarizing what happened, I think covers like there's not a ton of like fun facts or like interesting things. It's just there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So going ahead to chapter
to quote Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly. So going to chapter 13 as Cole summarizes with Deadpool while being Jack Sparrow. The Muggle-Born Registration Commission, chapter 13. This one was full of a lot of stuff. A lot of action happened. You see that Harry and Hermione continue on the elevator to level 1 where they run into Umbridge. Umbridge takes Hermione with her to take notes at the commission. And then the new Minister of Magic, Pious Thickness. Okay? Thickness. It's how you say the name.
Yep.
Okay? It's how you say it. But anyway, Pious Thickness greets Harry, who's disguised as Runcorn. And Harry, says, "Hey, I'm looking for Arthur Weasley." But then he puts back on the invisibility cloak afterwards, and he head towards Umbridge's office. There you see, again, another autobiography of Dumbledore, that kind of stuff. Mad-Eye Moody's magical eye.
Yeah, that was really
employees.
Really disappointing. Like, what a terrible... Man. I can't even with that. Wow.
Yeah. But he's
That's
able
a terrible thing to do.
Yeah. But he's able to get by it. He's able to take the eye. He puts it in his pocket. He searches the office. He comes across Arthur Weasley's file that he's being watched. He sees his own photograph on a poster saying undesirable number 1, which Umbridge has written to punish. Oh, man. She just has it out for him. But we see Thickness enter the office. And Harry doesn't find what he's looking for. He sneaks past him to the door, goes to the elevator. He finds Ron, who's still trying to work on Yaxley's rain problem.
I love that Ron can't remember who anybody looks like, so he was just pretending.
Like, yeah, he's just like,
"Oh,
hello.
Blimey, Harry. I couldn't remember who you were."
Yeah. And so, but I also think the interaction with Arthur is pretty great.
Oh, yeah. Is that a threat? No, it's a fact.
Yeah.
They're watching you.
I love that Arthur stands up to Runcorn. Because it also puts into perspective like the consequences of like the Muggle-Born Commission ordeal. Like these people are being sent to Azkaban. Like, this is brutal stuff that's happening and that's going on. And so it just kind of, could you imagine the reunions that happened like after the Wizarding War is over, and those people get to come out of Azkaban and all that. Like, I don't know. For some reason when I was reading this section, I was just thought, man, that's an amazing thing that, man, I hope happens for people. Like, I hope that they enjoy that.
I just noticed that someone's name was Wakanda.
What?
Yes. It's
Wakanda?
Wakanda, yes. I quite understand what you're saying, Wakanda, but I'm afraid I cannot be party to. Yeah, it's when they're in the elevators.
Is it Wakanda? Now I'm trying to find it.
On my edition, it's 254, but I don't know what page it would be on your edition.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's 254 for me too. Yeah, I quite understand what you're saying, Wakanda, but I'm afraid I can't be party to. Wild stuff. This is where it all started. Yeah.
She thought she was being sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently she has been for me because I didn't notice that until now.
Yeah. Yeah, but kind of the way that this ends is that they finally make it down to level 1 where Umbridge is.
Dementors everywhere.
Hermione's taking notes. Umbridge begins to interview Mary, which again, this is probably the most frustrating part, was just the arrogance and just stupidity of Umbridge, of just being like, it says like you registered your wand here today. Would you tell me which wizard or witch that you stole it from? Like, and she was like, the wand chose me. Like the classic Ollivander statement.
Yeah.
I got it.
And she's just like,
Ollivanders when I was a little girl. That was in the movie, not in the book.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, next time we do a writing room and we have to read parts, I feel like Cole could do a really
Cole
good
should
impression.
just be Mary Cattlemore. Yeah.
Oh no. I don't know about that.
I don't have much to say about these chapters other than it's just chaos in the Ministry of Magic.
It is absolute chaos.
As they're trying to break out.
I think I was telling Cole this earlier, like that what I think this chapter does do is that it really does like show Harry in the light of being a liberator, because of him guiding all of those muggle-born wizards and witches out of the ministry, and says, go into hiding, go escape, take your families. It was just one of those like, oh, Harry, this is actually a pretty cool moment for you. This is like, that is hero Harry, that when we get to the next sections and people are saying like, what has he done? Like, he's just hiding. He hasn't done anything. He's not fighting. I was like, he literally just liberated a group of people.
Give the boy a break.
Azkaban.
He's literally been a hero for like years now.
Yeah.
It's been a hero for 6 years now. When will the poor guy get a break?
Yeah, exactly. Now we're entering to chapter 14, The Thief. The movie version of this was absolutely disgusting. I hate the splinching scene. It's the worst. I'm going on record right now in saying it. It's not great. Like I don't love it.
I feel like they did the splinching justice, though.
No, I think I'm agreeing that it's done well. I just hate watching it because it grosses me out.
I get that. It is gross, but it like that's how you picture it, and it's gross. And then Emma Watson did a fantastic job acting through this scene too.
We can't say that. Washington Sentinel busted us for that already. We can't say that.
Sorry.
Can't say that.
Fine. Wow. I'm gonna say it harder.
Also, I don't know why, but it makes me laugh in the book and in the movie when Harry is like trying to search through the bag, can't find the Dittany, and then just gives up and goes, Accio Dittany! And then the little bottle just like pops up into the air and he grabs it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say this also, because it gets into the subject about, once Dumbledore died, they became secret keepers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to the episode last week of the plot holes that the Secret Keeper. Here's my only explanation. I wish Spencer was here so that way I can get my thoughts. Here's the only way, as the lore keeper, as the canon keeper, the only way that I could try, again, this is just an attempt. I'm not saying that this works, because even then I'm having a hard time trying to rationalize and reconcile this. But my only thought is just like, maybe the spell itself, after James like was killed by someone else being a secret keeper, there were maybe rules amended to allow yourself to be the secret keeper, possibly.
Maybe.
Like, and again, I'm not 100% sure that that's even a thing, but that's the only way. Because I was talking to Jade last week, because she was talking to me about it. It's like, yeah, that's like a huge plot hole that I can't reconcile. And I was like, that's the only way that I could try to reconcile.
Right.
A secret keeper. It's just that it used to not be that way before, but then after what happened in Godric's Hollow, that became a possibility. But again, because we talk about like the trace, right? Because like the trace was somehow still on Harry. It could possibly have been on Harry because the Ministry had fallen, and so who knows, and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. That's my attempt.
Yeah.
To do that.
It's a complicated subject that doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. And trying to understand a made-up magical concept and try to apply rules to it if we don't have all the rules is hard. So.
Yeah. And so what we do see in this is the spiral of Ron Weasley on this journey. Once you've taken him outside of that comfortable life, his attitude, his excitement level
diminishes,
just continues to drop, and that's unfortunate to see.
The Boromir of this fun little journey.
Well, and when you combine that with Harry, who doesn't take much from people to begin with, like he'll give it back. And so you've got Harry and Ron just like going at each other, and even Hermione every now and then. We'll get in there.
Every now and then, yeah.
And so it's like everyone's like, "Shut up! No, you shut up! You shut up first!" You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
They didn't write out the dance sequence in this one.
Ugh, I cringe every time I watch that.
It's not good, guys. It's not good.
It's not.
Spencer needs to stop saying that it is, because it's not. It's not great. I don't like the idea of the possibility. Bonding. I don't. No.
I like the idea of them, like, because you don't see Harry and Hermione just like by themselves as often. And so
they were like by themselves for like most. I guess that's
fair. Most of
the Goblet of Fire when Ron and Harry were arguing, and then they were together a lot in the Half-Blood Prince when Ron was making out and snogging with Lavender. We've seen them together.
Last book, you're right. I don't know. I think it was a nice idea. It was not well executed.
I despise the notion that we needed to see the possibility of Harry and Hermione. I think that is such.
I don't think we needed that. No.
But like that's what like Emma Watson was saying. J.K. Rowling said that like, oh, we need this in part one. And I was like, didn't. No, we did not need this. Spencer is probably like squirming right now that I'm saying that possibly. But we didn't need it at all. And I think
but we are all on the same page that Harry Potter's not a love triangle.
It's true.
That was not a thing. So we didn't even need hinting at a love triangle.
Yeah.
That did not
And you
tell
know-
us anything.
And you know what I thought that we, like the three of us, were together on? Abby Tooley?
What?
That Grindelwald beats Voldemort hands down, clear cut.
Okay,
And then
but
here
like
I
Spencer
do.
made good points though.
No, he did not.
Okay, I still think though that we don't truly know what Prime Voldemort's like. And so I think it's hard to know.
Abby, answer me this question. Answer me this question.
No.
When when Prime Voldemort was there, even though we didn't know what his abilities and his skills and what exactly he could do was, who did Voldemort fear?
Dumbledore.
Who was considered to be Dumbledore's equal?
His brother.
No, fourth. It was Grindelwald.
Yeah.
It was Grindelwald, and
Yeah.
Grindelwald was like, and forget about being able to like disintegrate wands. No one uses that as a point for Grindelwald. We do everything else that Grindelwald does as the amazingness of Grindelwald. Like,
I feel like
for
I'm at
Voldemort,
sea being driven and tossed by the wind. I don't know.
Abby,
Ugh.
like when Spencer was talking about Voldemort, I felt, and I love you, Spencer. I love you so much. You know that. You're my Skip Bayless to my Stephen A. Like, but I felt like a mosquito with a naked body. I just didn't know where to begin. I just didn't know where to start biting and sucking the blood.
So when you said that, mosquito with a naked body, I was imagining a naked mosquito and was very confused because I'm like, they're always naked. They don't wear clothes. Oy.
Oh gosh.
I don't know. I don't know where I stand. I don't know enough about Voldemort. I don't know enough about Grindelwald.
Yeah. Alicia
know.
Alicia can also hear me, and she said, "That's gross. Don't say stuff like that." So I'm sorry, Alicia. That's my bad. My bad.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
But
there were a lot
happy
of other
birthday,
ways you could
Alicia.
have described that, but
That probably
you chose what
I
you
chose
did,
that. I chose that.
and now you can't take it back.
I can't unless I just like
Beep,
bleep it out
beep.
and put it explicit.
Oh my gosh! So people will make up so many worse things. It's like a beep with a beep.
That's true. Yeah. But anyway, we do know, speaking of Grindelwald, he kind of makes an appearance in this chapter at the very end as Harry has another vision that takes place, and we know that he is the mischievous looking
Can anyone else hear David?
No.
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
You actually bleeped yourself out.
Oh.
And he bleeped himself out again.
Can't hear you.
Oh no. What about now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to touch it.
He's kidding. It's like those old commercials. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, exactly. All right. But chapter 15, Goblin's Revenge.
I completely forgot about the goblins and Ted Tonks and Dean.
And Dean.
Oh.
For some reason, I thought Lupin was running around with them too, but I was wrong. He was not running around.
He's back home with his family like he should be.
Yeah. Like a good little werewolf. But yeah, so Harry buries Moody's eye in the forest. The trio move their camp near to a market town.
But how does that work when you bury the eye? Because the eyes still like move.
But you put
dirt, right?
You put dirt over it, I would assume.
Well, but yeah, that's the essence of burying. But like, is there like, I don't know. Never mind.
It's not really connected to anything.
We'll keep going. No, it's not. But it just feels weird to bury an eye that like looks around, you know? Anyways.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's just a really symbolic moment, I would assume. But I think we get a really cool tidbit about the Horcrux itself, because Harry is going to try and get food in this town that they're in, and Dementors are there, but Harry's unable to summon his Patronus. Like, he's just like, I can't do this. So he has to leave. And then when he goes back to the tent, Hermione realizes that the reason why is because of the Horcrux, that it kind of exerts a negative magical influence that blocks positive emotions needed to summon the Patronus, which is really cool. So they agree to take turns wearing it, but it does make whoever wears it argumentative and irritable. And so this
Although
is,
I will
again,
say
where
was already argumentative and irritable before that came into play.
So this just makes it worse, because they're going through the difficult phase of their quest, where they're moving place to place. They're having food irregularly with difficulty. They can't agree on what they should do next. Tensions grow as Ron and we later learn in this chapter, Hermione, are wondering, like, does Harry have a plan? Like, what are we doing? We're just spinning our wheels. All of this stuff begins to happen. And one night, when Ron and Hermione are going after it because of the food that they're eating, they do hear voices nearby, where it's Tonks' father, Dean, and then two goblins are traveling, all from the run, or on the run from Voldemort and the Ministry. And so then one of them, it's Griphook, tells his companions about a great story of revenge that he has on the wizards of the Ministry. We find out that 3 students at Hogwarts, Ginny, Neville, and Luna, attempt to steal the sword of Gryffindor from Snape's office. They were caught, punished. Snape had the sword sent to Gringotts, but everyone knew in Gringotts that the sword was a fake, though they didn't say any of this to Snape. But then we get, a scene with Phineas Black, where they force him to wear a blindfold. They question him about, is this true? When was the last time the sword was seen? This and this and that. And then he reveals that Dumbledore used the sword last to destroy one of the Horcruxes, which was the ring. And so we find out that the sword of Gryffindor is able to destroy Horcruxes because it was impregnated with the basilisk venom, and it absorbs anything that makes it stronger. So the question remains, where did Dumbledore leave the sword? Where is it? And so while Hermione and Harry have this breakthrough moment of finding this out, Ron is not very impressed. And so we have this big blow up scene between the 3 of them that results in Ron taking off after him and Harry are about to come to blows. Hermione throws up what's the spell name? I already forgot what the spell name is called. We use it in Hogwarts Legacy all the time. Protego.
Yep.
Yes. So Protego,
we used it in Hogwarts Legacy,
which I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful imagery, actually, because it says that when she puts that up, it puts a wall with one side, her and Harry, and on the other side is Ron. To where Ron says, okay, you've chosen him then. And he leaves, and that's how the chapter ends, and that's how the section ends. And what a great chapter for us to end on, honestly.
Mhm.
It is a little bit of it's not quite a cliffhanger, but it leaves you on the edge of your seat like, oh man.
Absolutely.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah. I do love this better because, again, it puts all the stops on the Harry and Hermione romance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not because of jealousy that he leaves, which I appreciate.
Right.
But it does make Ron a jerk in this one.
Yeah.
It really does. Because, I mean, food, man. He needs his food.
Yeah, was he wearing the locket?
He was.
When they were arguing just then?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. A little bit of influence there.
So,
but I think it's like it takes the emotion that you're feeling, that negative emotion, and just makes it stronger.
Right.
And so Ron was already feeling all those things, just he felt them at a higher level with the locket on.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, man. So this section of the book really is the lowest point of the quest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is when everything breaks down. This is where everything comes apart. And so
wheels fall off.
And so what we see probably in the next section of reading is those things kind of being put back together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for the next section of reading, because Abby, I think after like really breaking it down, this was not great.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel good after reading these 5 chapters.
Mm-hmm. No.
I think you're more interested from the last one, but it's just a lot of running around, and you get a Horcrux. That's great, but you lose Grimwald Place. You lose your house elf. You lose food. The abundance of it. Hermione's cooking, like just nightmare. My question is, do you think Ron does the cooking, or does Hermione do it?
I think Hermione would have to. Oh, when they get married. Sorry, I thought you were talking about right now. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Hermione.
Well, because he was so critical of her cooking. Like, he's just like, oh, this is awful. Like, my mom could just make food come out of thin air. Like,
they probably just order out.
Probably.
Welcome to Wizard Hut. What would you like on your pizza?
Broom Dash.
Broom Dash. There it is. Broom Dash.
Anyways.
Broomer Eats.
Oh my gosh.
That's got to be that's something that people should comment in. What is your wizard delivery service? What would it be called? We'd love to know. Love to know. But if there's nothing else to add, I will like to say that I formally apologize for the way that I said the actor for Voldemort. I know I said it wrong. I didn't realize it till way after.
Ralph.
And when I mean way after, I meant when I was editing the episode and Abby said, David said this wrong. So
it's okay. We've all said someone's name or a character's name wrong at some point. It's happened.
Amen. Praise God.
I would also like to add that my child had their sorting ceremony.
Yes.
This last weekend. So
yes,
it was adorable. Sam got sorted. It took about 30 minutes because he would not choose. He would not walk up to one. So the hat took a little while to decide. But in the end, I think with a little swaying, he chose Gryffindor. So it was good. So
I'm excited. I'm so happy that he was in Gryffindor.
Honestly, when I think about his personality right now, I'm getting I was torn between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff. So I was like, he could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with Gryffindor. I think he'll fit in.
Yeah. So
he's a little daredevil right now. So.
Yeah. I will say this, guys. I am so tempted to get Stephen Fry's audiobook on Audible of him reading the Deathly Hallows, just so I can get a taste of his work. I'm like I'm hovering over the click page. I'm about to get it.
Did you hear my question that I told Spencer I wanted to ask you about audiobook narrators?
Yeah. So yeah, I thank you for reminding me about that. So remind me of your question again.
It was more of like, I know that with Harry Potter, you and Spencer like team Jim Dale all the way, but I also know that you listen to like other audiobooks. Cody listens to a lot of Star Wars audiobooks. And so he talks about like some of their narrators and which ones he likes better. And I didn't know if there's a narrator you like better than Jim Dale, or if Jim Dale's like just Harry Potter favorite, or if he's like the GOAT of all audiobook narrators so far for you.
I think I agree with Spencer, because I think he was along the lines of saying that like it's different for each fandom.
Yeah, it depends on
because they kind of do different things. So like because like for Star Wars, my favorite narrator to listen to is Mark Thompson. He's my absolute favorite because he has an amazing Darth Bane voice. He has an incredible Qui-Gon Jinn and Han Solo voice. He also has the perfect Thrawn voice.
Nice.
So like he does all of those things at such a high level that I would almost say that I think that Mark Thompson just overall as a narrator is probably my favorite of all time. Just because he's so good at what he does. And I'm trying to make sure that he is the guy that does Bane, because I feel like that's who Cody would know.
I feel like I've heard the name Mark Thompson before, so I feel like that may be one that Cody's mentioned.
Oh, Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Davis does Bane. So he's also really good. I think that Ashley Eckstein reading Ahsoka's book is really good.
Well, yeah.
Because she's Ahsoka,
right?
But she also doesn't have a lot of like range in it. Like it's like Ashley Eckstein is voicing all the characters, and then she's Ahsoka. Like but
you still
I would say Mark
it,
Thompson, Jonathan Davis, Ashley Eckstein. I'm actually like thinking about getting the Padme trilogy on audiobooks because I read those. I just read them. But I'm interested to see who does the narrations. But E.K. Johnston does write a really creepy and weird Anakin Skywalker. I just want that on the record. Like,
I think I agree with that.
She does not know the character at all. But anyway, it's a Harry Potter podcast. But those are just my thoughts. I think Jim Dale's amazing, but I think I would put Mark Thompson up there. I would, just because his range is a little bit more.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to do it for us here on the Show of Requirements, a Harry Potter podcast. So all of you watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I hope you continue to tune in. Make sure to comment Grindelwald versus Voldemort Part 3, because we talk about it like every episode.
Rematch.
You have to
need more information. I want to be like a jury. I need you and Spencer to bring me your arguments, and I want to be the jury to give a verdict.
Yeah.
Do I get to be the judge?
I think. Well, no, Cole. Actually, for this one, you can't because you agree with me.
Oh darn! You're right. I am biased.
So you can't. So it has to be.
I'm
Abby
judge,
this time.
jury, and executioner.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding.
I'll give you
Listen, guys.
Cranges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would die if I had Cranges because I'm allergic to him.
Oh
so.
no!
Not really, not
So
that
he'd
allergic.
be your
but-
executor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. But if you are listening to the podcast, make sure to subscribe to it. Leave us a review as it helps us continue to grow in all podcasting worlds. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, comment what your favorites are, like the video, share it with your friends. We'd love for this to continue to grow and to be an amazing opportunity to just connect with more Harry Potter fans. But until next time, marriage managed. I'm just kidding. Mischief managed.
Spencer last time.